When the elevator doors opened, she stepped into the elevator, trying to steady her breathing. It wasn't fear, it wasn't insecurity, it was that quiet, tightening sensation that rises in your chest when you realize you are being measured and found lacking by strangers who believe they have the authority to decide your worth. Clara. Whitmore adjusted the strap of her small black handbag and allowed the elevator doors to slide closed behind her. The interior gleamed with polished marble floors, mirrored walls trimmed in gold, and recessed lighting that shimmered off diamonds. Emerald necklaces and designer bracelets worn by the women already inside. They looked like they had stepped off the pages of a luxury magazine. Silk. Gowns in bold jewel tones, perfectly. Styled hair, high heels, sharp enough to command silence. Perfume. Thick and expensive in the air. And then there was Clara, a simple black dress. Clean. Lines, no flashy label. No glitter, no statement. Jewelry, understated, intentional, quiet. The silence lasted only a second before it, fractured into subtle glances and restrained smirks. One woman tilted her head slightly, eyes scanning Clara from head to toe. Another leaned toward her companion and whispered, just loudly enough to be heard, "Did she get lost?" Soft laughter followed. Delicate but deliberate. Clara heard every word. Of course she did, but she kept her posture straight. Chin lifted not in defiance, but in dignity. Tonight's event mattered. It was a charity gala raising millions for educational reform and community housing initiatives. She had spent months coordinating partnerships, securing private donations, structuring the foundation's expansion into 3 new states. This wasn't about fashion. It was about impact. Still, the sting was real. Because no matter how accomplished you are, judgment has weight. The elevator began its ascent, floor numbers illuminated one by one. The higher it climbed, the heavier the atmosphere became. I swear. Some people don't understand dress codes, one woman murmured. Her tone sharpened with polished cruelty. Clara felt heat rise along her neck, not from embarrassment, but from the effort of holding her composure. They didn't know her. They didn't know the years she had spent volunteering. Before ever attaching her name to a board of directors, they didn't know she grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment with a single mother who worked double shifts. They didn't know she had built a nationwide, philanthropic network from scratch to them. She was a mistake in the wrong elevator, an appearance in their world. Was everything. Then the elevator jolted. A sudden stop between floors. A chorus of gasps filled the space. "Oh, perfect," someone snapped. "Just what we needed." Clara instinctively steadied herself, placing one hand against the wall. The air felt tighter now, charged with impatience. "I hope this doesn't make us late," another woman added pointedly. Glancing at Clara, as if she personally summoned the mechanical failure, the lights flickered once, twice. Silence stretched in that small, suspended moment. Clara felt the symbolism settle over her, paused between levels, between worlds, between perception and reality then. With a mechanical hum, the elevator resumed its climb. Seconds later, the doors opened. The lobby beyond was breathtaking. Crystal chandeliers hung like frozen waterfalls from the ceiling. A red carpet stretched across polished stone. Photographers adjusted lenses while executives and socialites gathered in curated clusters, their laughter carefully modulated. Clara stepped forward, and everything changed. The hum of conversation shifted. Heads turned not toward her, but past her. A tall figure crossed the lobby with quiet authority. Daniel Whitmore, venture capitalist, tech innovator, philanthropic investor, frequently featured in Forbes and the Wall Street Journal, Billionaire and Clara's husband. He wore a tailored charcoal suit, cut to perfection, his presence commanding without effort. But it wasn't the suit that drew attention. It was the confidence of a man entirely. Aware of who he was and what he stood for, eyes scanned the room once before landing on Clara, and he smiled. a real smile, warm, certain. "Are you all right?" he asked, stepping toward her. His voice was calm, steady, protective but never possessive. The women behind her stiffened. Daniel's arm slipped naturally around Clara's waist. "The board's been waiting for you," he continued. "They won't finalize the housing initiative without your approval. Waiting." For her, the words echoed. One of the women attempted a recovery. "Oh, we didn't realize," she began, forcing a brittle laugh. Daniel turned slowly toward the group inside the elevator. His expression didn't harden, but it clarified. "You didn't realize what?" he asked evenly. No one answered. "You didn't realize that leadership doesn't always wear sequins." The silence deepened. Clara felt her heartbeat steady now, not from anxiety, but from grounding. Daniel wasn't angry. He was precise. "My wife chooses simplicity," he continued, "because she believes substance speaks louder than decoration." One woman swallowed visibly, another avoided eye contact entirely. "She built the scholarship program that funded over 800 first-generation college students last year," Daniel added. "She negotiated the partnership that brought medical clinics into rural counties that investors ignored." Clara stepped slightly forward. "Daniel," she said gently, but he wasn't finished. "And she did it without ever once caring whether she impressed a room." Now the women's earlier confidence had evaporated completely. One finally spoke, voice small. "We meant no disrespect." Clara met her gaze. "Intent doesn't erase impact," she replied softly. The words were not sharp, they were honest, and honesty carries power. Daniel offered his arm. She took it. Together they walked down the red carpet, not as a spectacle of wealth, but as partners in purpose. Inside the ballroom, applause began, first polite, then growing stronger as more guests recognized them, not because of status, but because of results. When Clara took the stage later that evening, she didn't mention the elevator. She didn't reference the whispers. She spoke instead about dignity, about how easily society confuses value with visibility, about how many brilliant, capable people are overlooked simply because they do not fit an aesthetic expectation. "True influence," she said into the microphone, "is measured by lives improved, not by labels displayed." The audience was silent, listening, even the women from the elevator. After the event, under the soft glow of garden lights outside the venue, Clara allowed herself a long exhale. Daniel joined her. "You handled that with grace," he said. She smiled faintly. "It wasn't about handling them," she replied. "It was about not losing myself." He nodded. "That's why you lead," he said, in the weeks that followed. Something unexpected happened. Emails arrived. Calls were made. Several of the same women reached out, some awkwardly, some sincerely asking about collaboration opportunities, about how they could contribute meaningfully beyond writing checks. It wasn't instant transformation, but it was awareness. And awareness is the beginning of change. Clara continued wearing simple black dresses to formal events. She continued entering rooms where assumptions formed before introductions. But now, she carried no lingering sting because she understood something deeply. She had never been out of place. The discomfort belonged to those who mistook elegance for excess, and every time elevator doors opened, literal or metaphorical truth revealed itself. Maybe you've experienced something similar. Maybe you've been underestimated because you didn't look the part. Maybe someone dismissed you before hearing your story. If that's true, remember this: you don't have to announce your worth with noise. You don't have to sparkle to shine. Consistency speaks, character resonates, purpose endures. One day, the doors will open, and when they do, what you've built in quiet integrity will speak louder than any designer label ever could, because it was never about the dress, It was never about the jewelry. It was about essence, and essence cannot be purchased. It is forged through resilience, compassion, discipline, and conviction. So walk into the elevator, stand tall in simplicity, and trust that when the doors open, the right people will see you exactly as you are.